What's going on, everyone? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown by Chat Sports. Hope you guys are having a nice Sunday. We're going to round up the latest news and rumors surrounding the Denver Broncos and get it out to you guys so you can enjoy your Sunday with the latest on Denver. So let's start the show off by talking about Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, who may be getting some interest from the Broncos. So Jordan Schultz tweeted this out saying, numerous teams would love to sign Tyrann Mathieu. No shit. Though execs I've spoken with this week don't feel like he's in a rush. The four-time All-Pro is great player. Did his agent just write this? Listen to this for a second. The four-time All-Pro is a great player with interest from Cowboys, Colts, Saints, Broncos, Eagles, Ravens, Steelers, plus Cowboys. Will Jerry Jones spend? Among others. Okay, so here's what happened. Matthew's agent just notes app, copy-paste to Jordan Schultz and paid him to tweet it out to say the all-great player. Okay, reel it back in, Matthew. Me, Matthew, not that Matthew. Do you want Matthew to sign with Denver? I want to start the show off early with a weigh-in and my weird TED Talk there. S for sign, P for pass. I'm going to show you his stats, and we're going to talk about him in more detail. But just kind of off the cuff, right off the bat, is this something you'd like to see happen? Or are you like, you know what, I hated him so much in Kansas City for those 3 seasons, I couldn't stomach / I'd have to delete a lot of tweets. And that's a fair reason. If you said a lot of mean things to him at Mile High, and now you're like, you know what, probably going to be a little awkward, I don't think I can do it, I get that. Put P for pass down below. Tyrann Mathieu, though. He's taking his time, and I think what he's doing here is he kind of feels that, all right, the market's plateaued a little bit, meaning what I get today will probably be the same in a week. Not much money is going to be spent from now to next week. So why not just take my time, enjoy the offseason, weigh out my options, and pick the best roster that fits me, that's going to get me, the best out of me, the playing time, the fit, and all that good stuff. But also make some moolah on this. And also I'm thinking for Tyrann Mathieu, you want to come to Denver? You want to stay in the AFC West where you can play the Chiefs, right? The team that opted to pay a different safety all that money? Could get some revenge right there. Now, Peyton has shown that he is not afraid to, pull off blockbuster moves like the Russell Wilson trade. So I wouldn't put anything past him like another big signing. I know it feels like the Denver Broncos may be done with their checkbook in free agency, but if Peyton looks at this and goes, you know what? We can get better. Well, why not take a chance on Matthew? As the agent said, great safety with a sack and 3 interceptions in 2021. He's been good for Kansas City. We know this. He was good for the Cardinals. He was good with great with the Texans, I think. So here's my offer to Tyrann Mathieu. If I was GM George Paton, 2-year, $28 million with half of it guaranteed. Maybe that's a little on the low side. So the top safeties these days are getting paid, 18, 19, not even that high, 16, 17, $18 million a year. Maybe Matthew goes, you know what, I don't think I'm worth that much. Well, I think I am, but I'm not going to get that much money. I'll take a 2-year contract, $14 million in the bank off the bat, and if I suck after the first year, they'll cut me. But I'll gamble on myself for that $28 million jackpot at the end. How much would you pay him, though? I would give him $14 million a year. Is that too high? You want to go lower or you want to go higher than that? Let me know how much you would pay him down below in the comment section. Curious to see what you guys would do because it's kind of a tough number to stab at, so we'll see what you guys have to say. I want to appreciate everyone that has helped us reach over 7,000 subscribers, but now the march is on to 8K, and my goal is to reach that by the first pick of the NFL draft, so I'll be coming down to the wire until Roger Goodell walks onto the podium and says with the first pick in the 2022 NFL draft, we'll have to wait because the Broncos Breakdown doesn't have 8K subs yet, and I'm not going to announce the pick until we get to 8K. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll at least ask Peyton. I'll ask Goodell to hold that for me. So help us reach 8,000 subscribers, 800 to go before the NFL draft. Next up on today's show, ESPN's top draft target in round 2. So a quarter of the NFL does not have a first-round pick. And what ESPN did was it took those quarter teams, those 8 teams, and said, here's the best option when you guys are on the clock. And for Denver, here's what they went with. Martin Emerson, the corner out of Mississippi State. Personally, I cannot say I watched Martin Emerson every single snap in the summer, in the fall, but I did do some research on the guy, and here's what I kind of took away from Martin Emerson. His greatest strength is probably his frame. I mean, he's a 6'2", lengthy, long arm, 200 pounds, just a great body and size right there for Emerson. Now, he does kind of lack that top speed, meaning he's not going to be a super fast corner, but if you've got that 6'2" frame, you can work around that, and you don't have to be a blazing speed corner if you can, make good tackles and just read offenses pretty well. Jordan Reed at ESPN wrote this about the selection, saying, Denver could take advantage of a deep cornerback class with the final selection of round 2. The 6'2" Emerson has long arms and fits the mold of what general manager George Paton has looked for in corners in his previous stops. Emerson has starter upside as the second corner on the depth chart, playing on the other side of Patrick Surtain. Now we check out the stats here for Emerson over at Hail State and the Aggies in 2021. I mean, the Aggies, I'm thinking of Texas A&M there, of the Bulldogs. 49 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 3 tackles for loss. He's not a ball hawk. He's not that kind of corner that's got that great speed where he'll back off, you know what I mean, and pedal back a little bit and then jump the route. That's not his style. That's not his MO. He likes to use that huge size. He likes to white on rice. He likes to be all over his receivers, and it comes with some baggage, right? It comes with, if you're that close, you could get burned easily, and he doesn't have that great speed to make up for it. So that's why he's not going to be a round 1 corner. He's not your Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley. Honestly, I think round 2 is probably a little early for him. From what I kind of gathered, seems more like a day 3, round 3 kind of pick. But if they wanted to improve that secondary room, because it is a little light, I know you get K'Wan Williams from the 49ers. That helps replace Bryce Callahan. You've got a good starting 5 right there between your 2 corners, your nickel, and your 2 safeties. But then there's a bit of a drop-off after that. You've got free agents who probably not bringing back, like Kyle Fuller and Bryce Callahan and Mike Ford and Harrison. So that's just a lot of bodies that needs to be replaced, and whether they want to do that in cheap free agency later on down the road or later in the draft and try and fill the room out that way, they definitely could use some help in the defensive backs department. Which position do you think the Broncos should draft first, though? Offense or defense? I think we should narrow it down there. I'll tell you mine in a second, but let me know down in the comments what position you'd like to see the Broncos go out and get the best guy at that spot before any other position. For me, I've said this before. I mean, if you've watched the show before, you kind of saw this coming. I want a good offensive tackle. In fact, I want a great right tackle to help anchor down that offensive line with Garrett Bowles. I have faith that Cushenberry, Reisner, and Glasgow will have a bit of a bounce-back season. And if not, I like Belly. I like Quinn Miners, and he's going to be competing for one of those 3 starting roles. I'm not sure whose job he takes if he does take over. Maybe Reisner. I mean, the former second-round pick out of Kansas State. I think they're all, some injuries between Reisner and Glasgow. And Cushenberry just had a bit of a down year. But I like the idea of going tackle. Here are my top 5 offensive tackles in day 2. I don't have the big names like Evan Neal because they're not going to fall out of round 1. But here are 5 guys that very well could be on the board when the Broncos are on the clock with pick number 64. Daniel Falale is just the largest human being in combine history, so I like him for that reason. Now, when you're that big, you're not as quick, and in the NFL, defensive ends are very quick. Unlike the, Purdue Boilermaker deal. Oh, Karlaftis is good. But you get the point. You just don't get that same top-tier speed edge rushers in college like you do in the pros. All right, Tyler Smith, he has just shot up draft boards. Everyone is in love with the guy out of Tulsa. Abraham Lucas, I had him on my mock draft. I like him. I think he's a good fit at right tackle as well. That's where he played most of his time at Washington State. Nicholas Petit-Frere out of Ohio State. A little inconsistent. That's kind of his nagging or his biggest weakness, but could be a good pick. Maybe not round 2, maybe more round 3. And then Darian Kennard is a nice flex kind of versatile offensive lineman who could even maybe play some guard if you needed that. And I like the idea of getting someone later in the draft in rounds 3 or 4 where they can be a Swiss Army knife. You can put them in a handful of spots. So those are my top 5 targets right there. If you want more draft coverage, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we'll put out mock drafts, draft targets, draft rumors, basically It is draft coverage season here at the Broncos Breakdown. We have less than a month to go until the NFL draft. It is April 3rd. What's the draft? April 28th? 27th? Let me look at the calendar really quickly. What's Thursday? 29th. No, 28th. 28th. Yeah. So April 28th. So we got 25 days. Could be even less than that depending on when you're watching this. So make sure you're locked in. Make sure you're subscribed. We're going to catch up with you later with the latest Broncos news and rumors.